And that is my best friend, Brandon.
That is my what do they call that?
That's your dad sound?
The prayer calls. But it was like when you like sit in a chair.
More like a fat guy mating call.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know. I'm sorry for calling Kenny gross in the last episode.
Is it gross that you call me?
I'm pretty sure it was gross. No, I didn't actually call you that. You said something about being gross, and I was like, yeah, you are. I don't know. We'll have to go listen 2 weeks ago.
It's not the most heartfelt apology you've ever given me.
I don't know if I've
But
ever
I do
apologized yet for anything, but I don't know.
You never apologized for anything?
No, I never do anything wrong.
But you never... I work with someone who I'm not going to say who it is, that I could believe it if they told me they've never apologized for anything in their life.
In a good way or a bad way?
In a bad way.
Oh, okay.
And like, well, not only that, but like, where do you get to the point where, have you ever met someone where you think maybe they have apologized before, but they've never done it wholeheartedly?
Yeah, I definitely know people like that.
It's weird to me.
Yeah, well, some people are, yeah.
I don't know. Let me put it this way. When I was 14 years old, my grandma gave me a book called How Rude. And it was literally a book of manners.
It sounds familiar.
Have you seen it?
I think so.
It's like
really
yellow.
Familiar. It sounds really familiar.
It was actually a good book. So it's written for teenagers. But it's like written for teenagers from like 2000, millennial teenagers. And I love that book. I actually read it twice. I really liked it a lot. And it went over it would go over simple things too, like table placement, stuff like that, like being a gentleman and everything.
Wow, real manners.
But the main thing it went over was like just socially, like just being a good person and courteous to other people. And I really liked it a lot. And when I think about like those people that do simple things, like it's beyond a pet peeve for me for someone to hold your finger up to someone like towards their face to say, wait a minute. Like where you just hold, like you show them one finger, you show them the index finger. And I used to play, it's essentially, don't flip me off, not that finger. I used to play, it's a form of Dungeons and Dragons called Pathfinder. What?
Go on.
No, I want to explain your huff. What was that?
I'm judging you.
Why?
You're such a nerd.
It's mainstream now. It is 100% mainstream. Have you seen Stranger Things?
Raise your hands, guys. Who here plays Pathfinder? Nope,
Let the record know.
Nobody.
Like the record show, there's one person raising his hand, and it's me.
In all of our audience, and that's the one recording the show.
Hold on. No, I know for a fact I have friends that listen to this that play Pathfinder.
Okay, comment.
Either way, you jerk, and I expect another apology later for that.
We'll see what happens.
There was this one guy that I played with one time where every time he had to like look at the rule book or something like that for something, he'd always go, wait. And he would stick his finger like right in front of your face. Like, wait. And every time it happened, I'm not an aggressive person, and I'm never aggressive towards people. I wanted to punch him in his stupid face every time. It's so rude. But like little things like that. Or when you walk into a store, like a store that like you have to go in and you're going to talk to someone, not like a grocery store, but like I work at Verizon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's a sales-based store, a sales-based environment. You're going to walk in there and there's going to be someone that greets you, asking you if they can help you, something like that. Similar to like if you go into a shoe store or something and you're on your phone when you walk in, it's rude. It's very rude. So then you combine that with the finger, and I am, like I said, not an aggressive person. But there's some customers I want to punch in the face just with that right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of being rude,
Yeah.
we started way off topic, so we apologize.
Brandon, we went over this in the last podcast.
I know.
Which I'm going to be super open with our audience.
Don't do it. Don't tell them our secrets. Don't tell them our secrets.
We just recorded a half an hour ago.
And by half an hour, it means 2 weeks ago.
I'm breaking the fourth wall.
Don't break the fourth wall. Don't break the
It
fourth
is
wall.
tattered. This is my wrecking ball of a comment.
Actually, we said that in our New Year's
What's
episode.
that? No, that
I think we
were-
said that we record
Yeah,
some
yeah.
things back to back.
Um,
But we do this for you guys
well, I'm
because
just saying, dude, we
we had
go
it
on.
fast.
It's not a tangent because it's this podcast the way it's built. And if you agree that you like it this way, audience, please comment. This podcast is built as just a conversation. That's it. We're just having a little tete-a-tete, little back and forth, tete-a-tete.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, tete-a-tete. Are you gonna look it up?
I'm gonna look it up.
All right, Brandon's gonna look it up real quick. We'll be right back.
The pronunciation here is not helping me at all.
What are you talking about? Tet?
Yeah.
Tet. Is this really worth it?
So, I mean, it means head to head, but it's not saying if it's a tete a tete or if it's tete a tete
Or tit a tit?
Tit a tit.
Tit a tit?
Because it is French, so it would make more sense for it to be.
Oh, it'd be tit a tit.
There. That sounds better.
That's French.
You know,
If we're having a little back and forth or a tit a tit.
I always joke of yet another tangent. Actually, this is probably more of a cosine.
See?
So I
it's a
always joke
conversation.
That because I took Spanish classes. So when we were talking, when
So
we were
you
doing
know how to
Spanish,
speak fluent Spanish?
I do not. But I feel like we already talked about this, but it reminds me of that. Like the word internet. They would just get, be speaking, internet. And then it just
I know
stands out
exactly what you're talking about.
like a sore thumb. That's what that reminds me of. So you're like, you could say something like, oh, we're sitting here just talking, going, and like just throw that French in there. It reminds me of that stupid College Humor video again. Let me call an Uber. That
I'm
stupid
thinking about
video.
I'm thinking about in The Office when Dwight Schrute goes to this back corner. He has to get some people to help him build. So like the stereotype is you go to this back alley or something like that, and there's a bunch of Mexican dudes that are there
Home
for
Depot
work or
and
something.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. But there's this one white guy there, and he's just like, and Dwight is white
Yeah.
and like very clearly American.
Yeah.
And so they go, and they're still speaking in Spanish to each other.
Yeah.
And he's just, but the guy he gets, he's just like, me llamo Stanley, looking for El Worco for possibly a farm. And like he's like going back and forth. It's so dumb.
So I gotta say, you look like George Bush when you were just doing that. You're like, my name is Stanley, and I'm looking for
little squinty eyes.
El Worco.
El Worco.
El Worco. That's
Javier,
what we say.
Javier, I got that right.
Javier down front. El Worco, right? Yeah. El Worco.
That's my man Javier, or as I like to call him, the burrito. By the way, I figured out the color of your shirt. Brandon wears this shirt, and it's cornflower blue. Yes. Look up cornflower blue on your phone.
I think it's too late for that.
Stop. Look up cornflower.
think it
It's
is.
definitely not robin's egg.
It is not.
Either way, he wears this shirt, and he always gets compliments on it
It's not. It's too dark.
that his wife got from
Or,
Goodwill.
Cornflower is too dark.
What?
This is too light to be
And
cornflower.
it could be a problem with your phone.
No, I know colors.
You say you know colors. Can you say that, but in the voice of a 5-year-old?
I know colors.
No.
No, it's
I know colors.
Oh, you mean that's a 3-year-old?
I know colors.
I know colors. I know what that is.
Is that a Japanese? I know colors.
No, beep.
I
We're
don't-
not putting that in there.
I know colors. Why would you put it in
We're
there?
not putting that in there.
Stop.
There's just some
We're a
things-
variety show.
Yeah, I'm not a racist one. Well, okay.
Stop.
No,
we,
never
we
mind.
talked about this.
That
it's
was one of
like-
our.
It's like putting a mirror to society.
That was one of our highest rate episodes.
I know. Everybody loved it.
The racism.
All right, I'm going to be honest. When we had the episode about Brandon enjoys a new baby, Brandon and I let the episode go a little far towards what the average person might call
I just hope you're going to say enthusiast, but go on.
racist. Hold on.
Vis-a-vis, ergo, racism. I'm sorry. Racism.
Wait, so you're okay with doing that and take off the, but you're offended by cover
No, if anything, it's less racist. I'm embracing the culture.
I'm just saying. I think that stuff is funny, and he cut so much out because he was so nervous.
It got really bad.
Well, give me an example.
I can't. I cut it out and I
No,
erased
no,
it
no,
from
no,
my
no.
memory.
We're gonna do a quick example. This is not us. This is just us joking around outside of the podcast. Where what we talked about. I mentioned.
It wasn't that bad, actually.
I think we were talking about how none of your kids have white names,
Mhm.
but you're quarter or half Mexican.
I'm half.
Half. Why do I always think you're a quarter? I keep thinking your dad is not 100% Mexican.
How do you not think that?
Well, only because he has like his accent is honestly super American.
Yeah.
What?
Is
that weird?
He's American. He's not from Mexico.
Part of him is.
My grandparents.
Like I'm Swedish.
My grandparents, at least my grandma,
Yeah.
was from Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't remember if my grandpa was or not. So both 100% Mexican make 100% Mexican children, but it was in America, so
But
they're
can you-
American.
You know what I've always wondered about that too? Can you call yourself 100% Mexican if you're born in America, you've lived in America?
So what would you be otherwise?
American.
Yeah, we're all American if you were born here
Yeah.
or brought in via.
So it's just
citizenship.
heritage. So
Yes.
it's a part of your. So when you say that, when your dad says he's 100% Mexican, it means that his heritage,
His ethnicity.
ethnicity,
race.
his heritage
Yes,
is Mexican.
is Mexican.
But Mexico is a country. So would you technically say Latino or Hispanic
Those are all different.
ethnicities?
No, that's a very confusing conversation.
But you see what I mean, though.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
You see what I mean? Like when you say stuff like that, I think you can.
So you know what? Here,
It's about making fun of individual people. If somebody listen, no, I have a theory, and I'm not
Oh,
going to
gosh.
justify racism
It
because
sounds like you're
racists
going
are
to.
douchebags.
All right.
I am going to encourage free thinking for a moment. Ready?
It's gonna be good.
Stop.
Let's hear it.
you have to look like this is gonna be good coming from the white guy. What? Hold on. If you actually like, let's say you're at a grocery store and you hear somebody over the counter go, like, "Hello, I'd like some milk, please," and you actually hear that, and then later on you make fun of that person. You're making fun of the person. No, hold on. No, this already feels bad to me.
I'm
thinking about-
waiting for
I
where
was
this is
about
gonna
to
get
make an
better.
argument. I was about to make an argument, and then I thought, nope, that's still wrong. My
Yeah.
argument was going to be, you're not making fun of a culture or anything. But I thought, no, you actually are. No, that's why stereotypes exist.
Yeah. Yep.
I did have a conversation with somebody at work though. Somebody that I know, like there's a group of friends that I know. I want to be very vague because I don't want to know where or something like that. Just in case they listen. Group of friends that I know, we had a conversation about Black History Month. And what?
Go on.
Well, listen, no, it was a good stop. It was a good conversation where this was one of the people in the group. They asked, first of all, why is there a Black History Month? And I thought about it myself, and I thought, why is there a Black History Month? Why isn't there a White History Month? What?
I know where this is going.
You're not
This
even going
is-
to hear me right now?
No, this is terrible.
No. What makes sense? What they said makes sense in that, like, technically, what you're taught in school, you learn about European history. As far as heritage, like we learn about Columbus, we learn about and even American history is already entrenched in white history. Like you learn about it from the time you're born.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it makes sense that we take time to learn about other forms of history that we were not given as kids, including women's history, Black history, stuff like that. Like that makes sense to me. And then all of a sudden it clicked in place. Like I'll be honest, I'm a white man. And like that stuff, I didn't question it to try to be offensive. I questioned it because I was actually curious. Like, why do we celebrate Black history? My family isn't Black, so I didn't know why it was so important. But now that makes sense to me. And like now that makes me want to like learn stuff and everything. You know what I mean? You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No,
Did I say anything offensive
No,
there?
that was good. That was very good.
No,
I didn't
it
know
actually-
where this was going to go.
What did you think?
I thought you were just going to be straight up racist.
No.
I don't know. I don't trust you white people. So,
See, that was racist. But no, then it made me think too. Like, I'm like really Scandinavian. Like a lot of my family comes from like Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And it hit me like as I thought that, we take time to like learn about Black history and women's history, and there's Hispanic History Month, isn't there? There's a third one. What's the third one?
I don't know if it's a history month.
There's a month. There's another month.
It's not a month. It's like over September and October. It's like half the months. It's like a Hispanic cultural type thing. It's not a history month. You don't get a whole month?
You need a month.
No, it's a whole month. It's just not a month. It's not like September. It's like from September something to October something. It's really weird. I don't know why it's that way.
Yeah.
It's not with the Spanish Inquisition. No,
but
I don't know.
Like genuinely, I don't feel bad because I mean, I hope nobody gets hurt. But genuinely, I've always had that question: why is there a Black History Month? Because my family doesn't do anything with it because we're white.
So no,
that makes sense.
Your thinking's right. And
so now I'm thinking, I want to learn about Scandinavian history. I want to learn where I come from.
Oh, more white people. Okay.
My fam. What? See, that had racist undertones.
I'm kidding. So
I feel like you're being the racist now.
Oh, I am.
Okay.
No, I agree. So so there's another thing too. Is like, why is it Black History Month? Right? Because it'd be like saying, well, it goes to the question of why isn't there White History Month? Well, white is not a culture, right?
Correct.
Or an ethnicity or anything. Like you just said, you're Scandinavian, which is like Norwegian and yada, yada, yada.
I can get mac and cheese and some Will Ferrell movies and start learning about white culture.
Yeah, there you go. That's pretty much it.
You say there's no culture. There's a culture there. It's just not fun.
But it's like because like Black, and a lot of it goes back to a lot of American history, those people being enslaved were pulled from their native land. So like a lot of people can't even trace their roots to their actual countries and ethnicities. And honestly, it's kind of sad that we just dump them into Black History Month and call it a day. Because really, wouldn't it be things like it's Kenyan history, right? Things like that.
But that makes sense too. That, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but that makes sense too. That you wouldn't know exactly where you come from because there's no records taken. There's no.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like.
So you actually, almost as a race, you almost have to reset as far as back as like your history goes and things like that. You have to reset. Because it's not just everybody from Africa. There were other parts of the world too that there were Black people as well.
Right.
So you almost have to say that, yeah.
It's really funny, like hearing like what the British say about some stuff, because there's obviously Black people in Britain, and like just hearing how ignorant a lot of Americans are. Like, oh, you have African Americans here. It's like,
wait, what?
No,
you have African Americans.
They're not African American. They're Black.
You have African American Europeans.
So they actually say Black British, and. It's just funny because like we've tried to PC it so much that we've oh no, you can't say Black because African American. It's like, well, one, what if they're not actually American, and two, what if they're not African? Because there's Black people from Jamaica, right?
Yeah,
that wouldn't be technically African. That'd be Jamaican American, right? And that's if they're even in America or just Jamaican. So it's one of those things where I think as a country and culturally speaking, we put so much emphasis on that ethnicity and things like that where. Honestly, it just should be more like it's good to know your history. It's good to know your culture. But I think we need to focus more on we're all American.
Well, and what's interesting, too, is that you saying the words that a lot of Black people do not know where they come from. They just know that they're Black and they're here and they've lived here and they're an American. A lot of people just know that. I never thought about that before. Like I have many friends. I have some Asian friends that know exactly where they come from in Asia. They know that their mom is Thai and their dad's Chinese. I have Hispanic friends like yourself that know my dad's 100% Mexican. I don't know where your mom's from.
Was she white?
You don't know where she's from though?
No, you got England, you got France, you got Germany, you got
she's a little bit of a European.
European, yeah.
And I never thought of it before, but I have Black friends that I don't know where they probably don't know where they're from. I'm gonna ask them the next time I see them. Like, do you?
And
are you
that's
Kenyan
one of those things too. Is like I don't want to throw the word white privilege out there,
Nigerian
or anything like
or
that,
something.
but
I'm not sure.
I think it's one of those things where like we take a lot for granted. Those of us that actually know like our history, at least even a little bit.
Yeah.
Where it's one of those things with like oh my family can trace their roots all the way back to Ellis Island when they came across on the ships from Ireland and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You look at people like. that were, slave traded or whatever, they don't get that luxury. They were literally picked from their homes, no records kept, brought over and put on a cell sheet. And that's just like, it's really disheartening. Like it's sad that that's a part of our history, but I mean, it is history.
I mean,
but it's that's tough.
you make the jokes about like quote unquote white guilt, but like just hearing that too, and like thinking that or watching movies that have that in there, it literally makes me look at myself and just think like my family may have not done that, but people from my culture, that was okay. Like I had there's a German foreign exchange student that came to my school, and she talked about how it's not that Germans don't recognize that Nazis did exist. It's not that they don't see that like, that is a part of the history of Germany. It's that they're just she said it's just that some of us are embarrassed about it, that we would even do that to people, so we don't want to talk about it. That's why you don't hear about World War II and the Holocaust in Germany from a lot of, she said from her, I don't know if that's true for all Germans, so I'm not going to put a blank statement.
Pretty true.
But from her, like, that makes sense to me. Like, if I've heard that, like, I'm from Norway, if I heard that, I mean, there are a lot of Vikings out there that did take a lot of slaves, but like from England and stuff like that. And yes, I know for a fact my family were Vikings. But if I heard that, like, my personal family, my extended family, they are responsible for, a genocide, a murderer of thousands and thousands of people. Like, and I can actually trace it back to my great, 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 great grandpa. I'd feel a little ashamed myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it makes sense that there's a lot of people joke honestly about white guilt and all this stuff, but genuinely, I'm ashamed. In a lot of ways, I am ashamed.
I don't think you
a little
should take.
bit.
So first of all, I gotta
It's
mention
like
that.
it's hard to describe if you really like think about it and take it in. It's hard to describe how you feel. It's like that you personally are not responsible for it, and you had no part in it. But at the same point in time, you also think like, that's my family. Like I think about like my grandparents. I knew my grandparents, my great grandparents. I grew up with them. What if all of a sudden I found out that they did something? It's still not me. It's still not something that I did. But I'm still like, that still makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's like the whole dreamers thing going on right now, right? The son shouldn't have the guilt of the the guilt or the sins of the father kind of a thing, right? The generational sin, is it really your fault and all that other stuff?
And
I mean, it's an ongoing
obviously
political discussion, but
obviously it's not.
No,
it still makes you feel things. You know what I mean? And the only cure for that, is to learn and embrace and just make starting your generation where you are and your kids start to make it better.
Well, it's the old adage of, those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. And being aware of history is important. So honestly, I don't agree with the black out, these parts of the history textbook, right?
No, and I don't.
To go back to the Germany thing, to lighten this mood a little bit more, but it reminds me of that Family Guy episode where they talk about going on a tour bus in Germany, and like they're reading the pamphlet. I think it was Brian and Stewie. And then Stewie's like, why are the years 1939 to 45 missing? And the guy's like, we don't talk about that. And it's
all of Germany was on vacation.
Oh yeah.
We're just like, we have pictures of us at Disney World. It was like something like that. Like all of Germany was gone at that time.
Right. Yeah.
That's why you don't see anything.
We took a vacation. We're gone.
But I'm pretty sure that was the joke.
I don't agree with that. I don't think we should discard history to make us feel better.
It might even be uncomfortable to learn some things of history,
right?
And
Which
take
is
a
okay.
moment to do
it's
that.
okay to be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and for some reason, we just do not like that these days.
Yeah,
we want to be comfortable, not just in our lifestyle, but in like our thoughts. We want to have comfort. We don't want to know the bad things, and it goes back to what we were just talking about of like Black History Month. Asking why do they get a History Month? Why isn't there White History? And it's going back to recognizing that there's a group of people that don't know their full history.
Yeah.
And it's kind of good that we acknowledge that. We
Yeah.
shouldn't toss that aside or, devalue them celebrating the history that they do know.
and us celebrating it too.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
honestly speaking, Black
That's like why
History
it's a
Month.
national.
Black
That's a
history
national
is
recognition.
American history,
Yeah.
and all Americans should celebrate it because it's a part of us.
If you look at the jazz era
Yeah.
and some music over the past 100 years,
yeah,
it's probably our coolest part of history.
It is.
Is Black history.
Right. And
You
it
know
goes
what I
to
mean?
show that through times of trial is where, because we are oppressed, where
Yeah.
some of the greatest creativity comes out, because you have to express yourself somehow. And through those pains is where some of the greatest works come from.
As the stuff that we're talking about so far, some of it is uncomfortable and some of it is like us joking around too.
Yeah.
But like this is how Brandon and I talk.
And
Like
by-
we'll talk about these topics. And
I want to
things
say,
like
by
that.
no means are we experts on this scenario. I mean, all things considered, we grew up in a very, very white.
Yeah, don't take me for an expert because like I said earlier, in that conversation with those people, like I actually asked, like, why is there a Black History
Right.
Month?
We
And-
don't have that culture here. We're a very small town. It's
Yeah.
predominantly white.
Yeah.
I will say it's pretty cool to see that from a diversity aspect, we're growing. I see every year more people of color in this area. For the
Yeah.
longest time, I was one of the only brown people, and I'm not even that brown. So it's nice to see just that diversity coming here, and we're gonna see that more just in the future. We're just continue to get diverse, which is good. It's a good thing overall.
Brandon for president, 2032.
Yeah, I'll be old enough then.
You're old enough now.
I'm not. I can't be president.
How old do you have to be?
35. I could be a senator.
See, the reason why I asked about Black history is I don't
You
even
don't
know
even-
anything.
you don't know
about
any other
American
history.
I don't know anything. This is why I'm saying I'm not an expert.
He doesn't know any history.
I'm a dummy.
I'm not. I wasn't that great at history. So this was supposed to be an episode about food.
I know.
Somehow it
You know
turned
what it
into
was?
a very
You know
deep
what it
political
was?
discussion.
It was an episode of Food for Thought.
Food for thought. I like that.
Also, I like this is legitimately. Hold on, like we've been doing podcasts for a while now.
Years. Yeah.
Well, no, not years, but
Oh.
we've been doing them for a while now. We'd like to keep doing them. The reason why we thought about doing this is because Brandon and I constantly have funny conversations and good conversations. How
Very
you've
true.
heard this is typically how it goes. We'll make a lot of jokes, and then we'll talk about how inappropriate those jokes were. And then all of a sudden, it'll make us start thinking about other things.
Yeah. Makes
And
us
we'll
think
go-
critically, which is a good thing.
It actually does. That's why I like our conversations.
It's good. It's good. So with that, why don't we wrap this up? Because this was deep. I think there's a lot to process here. Let's just open the conversation. We got that new Facebook group out there.
Yep.
It's been a little quiet. Not everybody's joined that yet. So listeners, why aren't you on our Facebook group? Yeah, let's have some of those real discussions. There's no reason we can't talk about this stuff.
Oh, Brandon, you're opening the floodgate on social media.
It's gonna happen anyway.
You know there's some crazy people out there, right?
there are crazy people.
All right, I'm going to tell you all right now. Everybody listening. Yes, let's have these conversations. Let's open it up, yada, yada, yada. And I want you to look at yourself, if you're listening, if you comment on this video and you get the majority of people on there saying, you crazy, you dumb, you stupid, really take an inward look at yourself and what you're saying.
Time to reflect.
It could be that you may not be sensitive or you may not be as knowledgeable as you think you are towards certain things. So if you do join the conversation, only join it with an open mind, and that's it. Like if you don't, I don't want you talking on there.
Yeah.
Is it okay to say that?
Yeah, I think
You
so.
agree
Honestly,
with
why
that?
not?
Because you know what I mean. Those certain Facebook conversations that get a little too crazy, and then you find out, your one friend that was, one of the groomsmen in your wedding, turns out they're a nutcase, and
How didn't I see this sooner?
And then you look a little deeper and you find out he's got a clan outfit, you know. You know what I mean.
I thought those were your wizard robes.
You know the person. I thought those were your wizard. I thought you were a scary ghost.
That was a Halloween costume.
That's so dumb.
Oh man.
All right. Brandon, give the hashtags. Boom, boom, boom.
So you guys can find us all across the web. You can find us on social media such as Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere these days. If you want to subscribe, we highly recommend checking out our iTunes podcast. We're also available on Google Play. And if it suits you, you can find us over at YouTube as well. We're the average enthusiast everywhere, so come on out and subscribe.
You closed your eyes while you did that?
I was
Like
getting into it.
Like you're
Oh,
trying
the
to
beat
get
was
really sexy, like little R&B, like
girl. Well, Kenny.
Baby, make love to that hashtag on Facebook. That's so dumb.
That was a podcast you chose to listen to. Do you think you make good choices? Whether you do, you heard Brandon and Kenny talk about things that are cool. We're feeling enthusiastic that you can be average too.
So dumb. So dumb.